Okay, we are now recording once again. I would like to just now segue into the Clean Trucks program that the organization has been involved in. Could you give me a little more information, about this program and some of the efforts you've taken, some of the involvement you've had with this organization or this act?
So just to give you some background on what we're actually focusing on. The Clean Trucks program was created by both ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach, and what it was response to years of the problems of the port trucking industry. So back in the 1980s, when the port trucking industry was deregulated, what happened is that you began to see the rates that drivers were paid to haul goods begin to go lower and lower. There was increased competition because there were no companies that actually maintained these trucks. There was no companies that actually employed these drivers, so they had very, very low overhead costs. They drove their prices down, how much they got paid, and the drivers subsequently got paid less and less. And so an outcome of that is you have this, this huge pollution problem coming out of the ports, particularly the port trucking industry. These trucks, they burn diesel fuel, which many studies have come out from USC and from UCLA as well, documenting how toxic this is to human health. And now these trucks, they're completely dilapidated, they're old, they're falling apart. Drivers just don't earn enough to actually maintain these trucks. And drivers themselves, they're working 16 hours a day. They're driving, has illegal loads, either it's overweight. They're doing whatever they can just to make ends meet. They're not getting paid enough. They're netting about $29,000 a year, and they're responsible for the fuel, the maintenance, tire repairs, what have you. All of these things, especially the fuel costs being so variable as they are, they're really suffering. They're really slaves on these are slaves on wheels basically. So it was a response to this, realizing that we have this huge public health crisis with port communities experiencing the highest rates of asthma in the nation, and the pollution that it causes to increasing greenhouse gases, what have you, and the fact that the labor conditions of these drivers are intolerable. And it was really the labor conditions of these drivers which spurred this huge environmental and public health crisis that we have. So the Clean Trucks program focuses on getting rid of the dirtiest trucks, the oldest trucks, and modernizing the entire fleet. And we're talking about 16,800 trucks. Ports of Los Angeles and Long Beach are the largest ports in the nation. Modernizing the fleet to 2007 Environmental Protection Agency standards. And actually on the Port of Los Angeles side, actually making these drivers employees of companies that can afford to purchase and maintain new vehicles, as well as maintain a healthy workforce.
According to the Road to Shared Prosperity document that John provided me with, there is a large pay difference between employees and independent contractors. And of course, most truckers, as you just said, lack health care,
right.
And port trucks have caused health problems in the area, ranging from asthma to other respiratory diseases. But do you feel that with this proposal, is enough, and that the port commissions are doing enough to not only help reduce the emissions and these other things that these illnesses that people are contracting as a result, but what about in terms of better wages, better living, and all these other issues?
Right, and that's critical to us. It was both the realization that you can't just solve one problem and just displace another. It was really solving both the labor and the environmental crisis. So the Port of Los Angeles really took the bold step by creating a concessionaire model, which means that if trucking companies want to do business with the ports, they have to uphold environmental, labor, safety standards, and then they can do business. So really, on the Port of LA side, companies working there have to have enough capital and the resources to purchase the cleanest trucks and maintain them, as well as employ drivers and pay them a living wage. And once there are employees, they're no longer independent contractors. They have the right under national labor law to actually organize for a union to get these, to get better health care, and to get better working conditions, and actually have a voice in the company. So that is a bold step that Port of Los Angeles has taken. Many of the environmental groups we work with, Natural Resource Defense Council, Sierra Club, American Lung Association, Public Health Advocate, are very supportive of this model. We endorse this model, and we hope that the Port of Long Beach would, would take on a similar model. Unfortunately, at the Port of Long Beach, they did not pass a strong clean trucks program. They passed one in which they banned the dirtiest trucks, and they're introducing cleaner trucks, but what they're doing is they're making drivers who are already living in poverty, they're putting the burden of purchase and maintenance onto these drivers. And what you're really seeing is the next subprime mortgage crisis, where drivers are taking on this huge debt. These trucks cost up to $100,000, even with port subsidies up to 80%. $20,000 for a person earning less than minimum wage, if not even a little bit more. It's too much to bear. And so really what we're trying to do is we're trying to work with the Port of Long Beach, elected officials in the city of Long Beach and the community to really call them to this justice issue and to really improve the standards for the drivers.
And to kind of elaborate on what you were just talking about, the Long Beach Ports Commission says their plan calls to reduce emissions by as much as 80% by 2012, and among the ways to help improve this effort is to eliminate trucks, diesel trucks built before 1988, and there's some drivers who say they can't afford the new vehicles. They can't afford to replace the new vehicles, but as advocates for progressive environmental laws, do you believe there's more of a benefit from eliminating these trucks, more so in terms of the environment than in terms of cost and those other issues?
Well, I mean, and that's the problem is that, it's not an either-or proposition, and that's what the Port of, Los Angeles model tells us. It's not either-or. It's not either we clean up the air at the expense of the drivers, or we improve the standards of the drivers, but we don't get clean air. What we're saying is that we want a comprehensive and sustainable model, one that addresses both, that you actually internalize the cost of doing business into the industry, and it's not externalized to the community in terms of, they bear the health burden for global trade. So again, the Port of Los Angeles model, it's a concessionaire. The companies are responsible, that have the capital, that have the ability to organize capital to actually, fund and maintain these trucks. And they take that burden off the driver. The driver just becomes an employee of that company. They get paid a decent wage. They get to do their job with dignity, and you have a much more efficient system. One of the efficiencies stemming from having companies own and maintain trucks and employ drivers is that you won't have these long lines of idling trucks that go into the ports. As of right now, drivers can spend up to 2 hours just idling their truck, inching in, trying to get into the port to pick up a load and container. If that cost was borne into a company, they wouldn't have that. They wouldn't have trucks idling for 2 hours, expending very expensive fuel, and just having drivers wasting their time getting in. They'd have a much more efficient system where they go in and out. So the Port of Long Beach, unfortunately, is placing the burden on the drivers, but we say that there is a better, more sustainable model, and that is making companies bear the have the financial responsibility of both maintaining drivers and maintaining trucks.
And to kind of elaborate on that, you say that how about with the Long Beach plan? Who's responsible in that plan?
So the Harbor Commission of the Port of Long Beach, they're the ones that passed the Clean Trucks program. We met with them, we talked with them, all of the, Coalition for Clean Air, NRDC, what have you, all of these organizations went to them and advised them on how to improve the program. Unfortunately, they didn't pass one that was very strong. We do know that the mayor of Long Beach, he has played a very active role in this program, and so we feel that he does have a great deal of political influence over the Harbor Commission. And so it's really trying to, better educate him on the issues, and to really try to make him see the conditions of these drivers and the very vulnerable and unfortunate place that the Port of Long Beach's program is pushing them into, and to have him, use his political influence to change what the Harbor Commission had passed.
And I guess we've got that out of the way. I kind of would like to now jump into the real reason why I am conducting this story. This particularly has to do with the recent campaign, the recent election campaign, and comments that Sarah Palin made regarding ACORN and its efforts to get people to vote in the upcoming election. And there's been a lot of criticism of community organizations. Do you believe that, you